Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to Blue Chip Prospect for another podcast. Today, we are talking about the top 32 and we are talking about the honorable mentions. I have like 15 players that I really like that could have been in my top 32 at any point in the season or that I debated when I decided to finalize my top 32. So I wanted to talk about them, but I didn't want to spend too much time talking about them or too much time like building a video about them. So, I made it the cheapest way you can do it, which is basically hiding the name behind this black box here, and we're just going to be talking about each player one by one. That's about it. For the top 32 itself, I'll do it two ways, not two ways, but in two part. I'll have the first part coming out this week, 32 to number 17, and then I'll have the second part next week, 16 to number 1, obviously supported with video and clips and all the stuff that I usually do. All right. But for the honorable mention, we're going the cheap way. And it's basically a Google Sheet. And that's it. All right. So we'll start with the first one. And the first one here, we're just going to make it wide so you can read it. It's Riker Lee. And Riker Lee basically, like if you look at Riker Lee, the way he plays, he's basically a top 16 player in terms of skills. The problem is probably more when it comes to defensive details, and the skating are basically the two biggest issue. He played at center and and on the wing, so he can play both position, but I think there's no way he's going to be a center in the NHL. He just doesn't have the defensive awareness and the defensive details in his game to be that kind of player, or even the speed to back check and go deep into the defensive zone and then get the puck moving the other way to the offensive zone. He's going to be late on every single play. So there's a lot of work to do on the skating, a lot of work to do on the defensive awareness and defensive work rate. But in terms of skills, he's high end. Like he has crazy good hands, really good shot, very good vision. He can see all the plays develop in front of him. Like he's not a tunnel vision type of player who's just going to shoot the puck. He can see the lanes. He can see the plays in front of him. So just a really, really good player that does have a little bit of risk, which is why I don't have him in my first round right now. But he would be my number like 33, 34, 35. But I'm not putting necessarily numbers on those players right now. Just saying that he's at the very beginning of that second round. And you can see here there's a lot of people some people have him in their first round, like Smart Scanning and Dobber Hockey, who have them at 30 and 23. And there's also plenty of people who have them like 50s and 40s. And there's Elite Prospect at 34, which is basically about the same ranking as me. So he's basically either at the very end of the first round or at the beginning of the second round, or not too far from that. Well, obviously there's some exceptions, but that's about where he goes. And it's very obvious when you watch him. The talent is really, really good. So he stands out. So next one, go here, make it white. There you go. We got Alexander Gerovski, which is basically the same type of player. Definitely a better skater, though. He's a guy from Russia that plays in the MHL, plays on a terrible, terrible division. So it's like you have to take the production with a grain of salt, but he does have 50 points, 24 goals in 45 games. He's a guy at 6'1". Here they say he's 163 pounds. It's hard to know what's true and what's not true. Like last year, Ivan Demidov was like 5'11", 160 something pounds. And then he came to the Russian combine and all of a sudden he was almost 6'1", 190. So is that true? I don't know. And it's really hard to see on the ice with all the equipment. I would say that he probably looks leaner than bulkier, but I mean, it's really hard to say with the equipment, as I just said. In terms of ranking, it's basically second round for almost everybody. There's a few exceptions here. Smart Scouting has him at 21st. Sorry about that. But that's about it. There's really not that many people who have him in their first round because there's a certain risk, right? When you look at Gerovski, when you watch him play, like you can see like the best attribute is obviously the hands. He can really make a lot of plays using his hands. He's very deceptive. It's going to be very, very hard to get the puck from him once he has the puck on his stick. He has a good shot. He has good vision. So he has a lot of stuff to be an offensive player in the NHL, but he looks like a player who's going to be either offensive or nothing. So there's not a lot of B game with him. And the fact is that when you watch games in the MHL, there is just so much space on the ice. Like the defensive structure and the pressure applied to the puck carrier is basically non-existent. It's a lot like the J20 in Sweden. When you look at it, it's like players have 5 and 10 feet of space on every side, and they can do whatever they want. Like Gerovski, you will see him sometime get to the players and try to make plays like through contacts, but it's because he's getting there himself. He has the time, he has a plan, he knows what he's going to do. Like we have no clue what Gerovski will be able to do under pressure when it's not him like getting into the pressure, when it's actually defensemen trying to get the puck away from him, trying to apply pressure to him, trying to lock him on the board and stuff like that. So it's one of the things like I really like him. I wanted to put him in my first round, but it's really hard to get him there because basically it's all projection. There's like we have no knowledge of what it's going to be when he gets a level above. Yes, he played a little bit in the playoff. In the KHL here, you can see he played 7 games. Not a lot of time, obviously. It's always like that in the KHL, and he did pretty well. So there's projection there, but it's the fact that most of the season, like he played 40 games. Is that what I said? He played 45 games in the MHL, and those 45 games, he had all the space available to himself, whatever he wanted. But once you go to the NHL, the number one goal of every defenseman is basically take time and space as fast as possible and as intensely as possible. So until we can see what he can do under pressure and through traffic and with players trying to push him off the puck and stuff like that, it's going to be hard to really see what he can do because he's a player that's going to be offense or nothing, or at least that's how it looks like right now. So Gerovski, but don't get me wrong, he's a very, very good player. It's just I would have loved to see him like maybe play a level above that to at least see what he can do, but it is what it is. Next one, it's another Russian. Just going to make it white first here so you can see the list at the end. It's Ivan Rybkin. And Ivan Rybkin is a player who started in the MHL, played in the VHL, played a little bit in the KHL, then moved to North America to play in the USHL. And it was mostly okay. Like most of the games were okay. It took a little while for him to adapt to the USHL, I would say, even though he had a few goals in his first few games. It was not great. It got better, but there's still work to do on the pace and on the skating. Like, he slows the game down. He's often behind the play. He's not really, like, I would say I used to think his IQ was really good. And now I'm really like debating, is it even NHL level? I'm not sure. Like he doesn't always read space or time, and even though now he became a shooter more than he is a playmaker now, it's still like it's not obvious that he can actually read the time and the space that he has in front of him and jump into plays to create, to shoot, or to create an advantage. But he did like score 30 points, 19 goals in 27 games. So I really like what I read from Elite Prospect, which is. They compare him to Ridley Gregg, and I think it's a very good comparison. Like I didn't think of it myself, and it's basically what I can see in him. I don't know if his potential is higher than that. I think maybe he has more soft skills than Ridley Gregg. Maybe he has a better shot than Ridley Gregg. I don't think he's as good a skater. I don't think he has the same pace. I don't think he has the same motor, but he does have the same get under your skin type of attitude. He does have the same He's not the biggest guy. He's pretty heavy because he's like 210 for 5'11 or something like that. But he is very violent. Like he loves to hit people. He loves to go in traffic. He loves to get under your skin. So he has that going for him. He developed a B game, and he does have some offensive tools. So he could become like probably a top 9 type of player that you can plug and play. That's gonna give you game off the puck. That's gonna give you game, like gonna get under the skin of other players, and he's gonna give you game as a complementary goal scorer in the NHL. So I had him in my first round for the longest time. I took him out, and he never came back in it. So that's basically it. Next one. Let's make it white so I can see it. It's Milton Gastron, and it's the same thing for him. It's another player that I had in my first round for the longest time. I had him in my top 16 at the beginning of the season. And then it's just, I find it hard to see, like, he's the type of player that you get in the second round and you have like a bottom 6 center or bottom 6 winger. that plays very well defensively, can give you a little bit of offense, have a little bit of vision, a little bit of a shot in the middle of the ice. Like it makes me think basically of a player like Oliver Kapanen for the Habs. It's a prospect that did really well in Sweden, did really well in Finland before that. Now he came to the AHL and was really good in the playoff. And he will play in the NHL, but in which capacity? Like, how high in the lineup can that guy go? It's probably third line at the most. Like, he does have a good shot, but he has a good shot outside the NHL. He does have good vision, but it's a good vision outside of the NHL. Once you bring that to the NHL level, it's a different game. It's all the elite players in the world. So those players usually don't have a lot of offense to give you. I could be very wrong, but it's just the way I see it. And when you watch the games in the J20, it's so hard to look at a guy play that doesn't create that many advantage in the J20 with all that space and expect him to come to the NHL and be like a dominant offensive player. So I don't see that. I think he's going to be a two-way type of center that's going to be capable of putting up maybe 30 points, 35 points, but it can give you a lot of work defensively, like a Oliver Kapanen for the Abs. That's basically the way I see it. So next one, go here, make it white, and it's Jacob Wozniak, which is the complete opposite of Milton Gastron. He's an offense player first. He's an offense player with the puck on his stick only. Like, he has no game without the puck. He has, well, he does have a good shot without, like, he can read space, but he's not. How can I say that? Like, he's at his best with the puck on his stick. When he doesn't have it, he's not at his best, whether it's defensively or offensively. He's not a bad player. I had him in my first round for a couple weeks here and there. Most of the season, he spent it in my second round, and that's where he's going to end up. But he's a guy that does have vision, does have a good shot, does have some size at 6'2", 190 pounds. When you watch him at the U18s, he was really, really good for Sweden. He was probably the player that stand out the most, even though there were players who had more points, like Philip Ekberg and Sasha Bumidain. I think for me, the player that consistently stood out was mostly Jacob Wozniak. So for him, it's all about being focused and finding a way to be useful without the puck, whether it's defensively, whether it's physically, whether it's finding openings on the ice and jumping into space for a shot and stuff like that. He has to find a way. But if we look at the production, he had 57 points in 40 games, including 23 goals. So if we compare that with Milton Gastron, who played in the same league, he had 42 and 40. So you can see that Jacob Wozniak is a lot more offensive just in terms of stats. But when you watch the game, it's even more obvious. Like, you can see the skills, you can see the offensive mind at work when he has the puck on his the puck on his stick, which you can't see with a player like Milton Gastron. But at the same time, Milton Gastron is going to give you a lot of work defensively, which Jacob Wozniak is mostly probably not going to do. So yeah, so a player that is definitely first round type of talent. And when we look at the rankings, like, his consolidated ranking is 37, and he's mostly like in the 50s, some 30s, some 20s, 40s. So, you know, he's a guy that's going to go in a second round most likely. And he has that type of, like, he has first round skills, but the overall package is a second round package. So jump to the next one. We're going fast to it because I don't want to make an hour video on just the honorable mentions, and sometimes I can like talk and never stop talking, so I'm trying to go as fast as I can. We have Jack Murtagh, a player from the US NTDP, a player that did pretty well. I think he had the most stats. I'm not too sure about the stats thing, but yeah, 53 points. Let's go see. I'm not. Sometimes I say stuff, and no, it was Cole McKinney. Yeah, I guess. So Cole McKinney had the most points. Jack Murtagh was fourth. William Moore second. So, but Jack Murtagh is mostly a shooter and a speed guy, right? He's a guy that can come. He's not an east-west type of guy. He's a north-south type of guy. He's gonna gain his speed through the neutral zone, get the puck on his stick, and he's gonna lower his shoulder, get to the net. And he has a very good shot from distance too. And he has decent size at 6'1", 198 pounds. He's also one of the youngest player in the draft at being born in August 22nd, 2007. So there's that. And in terms of ranking, his consolidated ranking is 29th, and he's in a lot of first round. Like when you look at this, there's a lot of people who have him in their first round. So he's going either to be in the first round or going to be a very early second round, in my opinion. And that's the type of player you get. It's just that the offensive upside is kind of limited, and he's not consistent in the effort level. You know that this guy can shoot. You know that this guy can get into the middle of the ice. You know that he has the speed to transition the puck, but it's not an everyday game. It's not an everyday thing. Like some games, he's more laid back, and not necessarily laid back, but he's more like you don't see him as much. When he's on, you see that guy because he's always in the middle of the ice trying to get a shot off from the middle of the ice. He's always getting the puck on his stick and going full speed with it or cutting to the net. He's working hard defensively. He's trying to lift stick and back check. He does all the things that you want from a player, but some nights it's not like that. So there's a problem with consistency, and that's my biggest problem with him because everybody knows the offensive output is probably limited at the NHL level because there's not much creativity in there, but there is some offense, but it needs to come consistently night after night. So we'll see if it's a USN TDP problem this year or if it's an actual problem from the player. We'll see next year how it goes when he goes to Boston University. So if we go to the next one, make it white. And it's Nathan Bem. And Nathan Bem is much closer to a Jacobish Wozniak than he is to a Jack Murtagh or a Milton Gastron or something like that. He's a offense first type of guy or offense only type of guy. He has big shot. He's a decent skater. Good size at 6'2", 198 pounds. Really, really good shot. Good hands in traffic. He does a lot of good stuff with the puck on his stick. He has a good one-timer. He has offensively, you can see that he has NHL potential. I think the issue is more about doing it consistently and also being involved defensively. There's a lot of work to be done there for him to be a good player defensively. He's a winger, so it's less of a problem, but at the NHL level, you need to be able to at least hold your own defensively, but you also need to be able to have a big game when the puck is not going in. So if you're a player that in this draft year has 66 points, 31 goals in 59 games, that's not extraordinary type of production. You can look when you watch a player, it's obvious that he has skills. It's obvious he has good vision. It's obvious he can pass the puck. He can shoot the puck. He has good one-timer. It's obvious that when he passed the offensive blue line, he can make things happen, at least at the junior level. But it's just, if it doesn't work at the NHL level, what else can he do? And the answer to that is not much for now. He's not physical. He's not involved defensively. He's not strong on a forecheck. He's not going to the net. He has to find something else for when the puck is not going in, basically. And when we look at the ranking, he's basically in there's maybe one first round. Recruit Scouting has him 31, but outside of that, everybody has him in the second round. So he's a second rounder. It's that simple. I mean, he has first round type of talent, but the package is not first round. So good player nonetheless, though. If we make this white and we go to the next one, Mason West. There you go. Mason West, another young player because he's August 3rd, 2007. So he's still 17, 6'6", 218 pounds. A player that can play center, can play on the wing. Decent skater for his size. Not necessarily a great skater, but decent skater for his size. Good hands, good shot, good vision, good playmaking skills. He has a little bit of everything. He jumped to the USHL here. He had 9 points in 10 games, which is pretty good when he jumped from the high school. The thing with him is he's also a quarterback in football. He said that he was going to play hockey, but from what I'm understanding, he's also going to be finishing a year of football at Edina High School or Edina High or whatever it's called. And then, I know that right now he doesn't have big offers from big schools for football, but it's not impossible that he finishes his year or make it on the year and then he has a great season and then he gets big time offers from big schools. And that could really just change the game for him. There's a lot of money to be made in the NCAA in football, a lot more than in hockey, and it all depends how good he will become, I guess, because If not, I think he plays hockey. If he's not that great and he doesn't get great offers from big college, but if not, he might jump to football. So there's a risk there. It's just that I'm trying to say, and it's not like I'm the biggest. I don't have a lot of knowledge of how football works in the U.S. when they go from high school to college and stuff like that. It's not something that I follow, so I don't have much of a knowledge in that. But from what I read and heard, is that he's going to finish a season or do next season of football, and then if he has a good season, he could get offers from big schools, and then it could be a problem for the hockey part of things. All right, so jump to the next one. Just a second. And it's Sasha Bumidain, basically a player that I didn't have in my first round at all in the season, not once. And I think he jumped into the first round of some people after the U18s because he crushed it. He basically had 14 points in 7 games at the U18s for Sweden, and I think that was a record, if I'm not mistaken, for a defenseman from Sweden or something like that, which is surprising. I would have thought that maybe a guy like Axel Pelika would have done better than that, but who knows? Um, but yeah, is a guy with a decent frame, 6'2", 183 pounds. Left shot defenseman. Here they say offensive defenseman, power play specialist, speedster. I agree with the speedster. I'm not sure about the offensive defenseman, PP specialist thing, but I mean, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I think he has a chance to be some kind of a Philip Broberg type of defenseman, a guy that has a lot of speed, that can transition the puck with a good pass, can make some plays in the offensive zone, but not necessarily a big strength. And a guy that doesn't necessarily have the greatest hockey sense in the NHL. So a guy that can use his feet, can use somewhat his skills. He doesn't have the greatest hands, but can use some of his skills, can use his speed, his vision to make good plays. Can defend. Will work on his defensive skating. I'm sure it's gonna be great because he's a great skater. But I just don't see him being that much of a big point producer in the NHL, but I could be very wrong there. So who knows? But now you see the consolidated ranking is 23. I'm sure if we checked that before the U18s, it would not even be in the first round. Nobody was talking about him because he didn't have the season most people expected out of him. But now it's 23. So for me, he was a guy I had in the conversation for the first round. He never actually made it to the first round. And I think he has some tools to be a top 4 NHL defenseman, but I'm thinking we're pretty far from that still. So we'll see how it goes. A player that I somewhat like. I don't like a player that I like, but I don't like that much. Put it simply. And then next one, it's a goalie. It's going to be Joshua Ravensburgen. And he could be in the first round. I just decided to not put a goalie in the first round because there was too many players that I wanted to put in the first round. And also because I don't think there's a single goalie that really stood out. Like Ivan Kovic stood out in terms of the way he played, at least internationally. Joshua Ravensburgen is not consistent, but he does have the athleticism. He's like a 6'5" guy. He has a lot going for him. He's a good skater. He's athletic. He can move fast. He has a lot of going for him. He's aggressive to square up with the puck. He does a lot of good things. It's just I don't think the stats are really all that great. And I don't think he looks like a guy who's like a sure shot like starter in the NHL. So like I understand the 6'5" and athleticism type of thing, but there was just a player that I preferred over him, even though I think that he's going to be a goalie in the NHL. So next one, I'm not going to pass too much time on goalies because they're goalies. Next one is Henry Brustevics, a player that I had at the end of my first round for basically all the second half, and then I pushed him out. Pushed him out of there. But it's not necessarily because, it's a little bit because of him, but also because I think there's a player that I really liked at the end there. But he's a defenseman that needs work on multiple asset of his game. Like he has decent size. He's 6'1", 194 pounds. He's a right shot defenseman. He has good attributes individually. Like he's a decent skater, more than decent even. Good puck handler, good pass, good shot. He's physical when he wants to. He can defend well when he wants to. It's just like from one night to the other, something's off. Like there's always something that's off, and sometimes my biggest problem with him is how can I say that? It's like the speed at which he reads the ice in front of him. Like when he's trying to, let's say, let's say he gets the puck behind the net and he's trying to start the breakout. Like, yeah, he doesn't have that much pressure yet, and it's like it's long for him to decide where to send the puck. Like sometimes I feel like the hockey sense is maybe not that high. It's more, and it's something that at the NHL level you're gonna have a heavy forechecker on you at all time. So you're gonna have to be able to make those decisions quickly to like evaluate option one and option two and option three and check which one is available and which one is not, like a quarterback basically. And I think like Henry Brustevics it's not his strength right now. He needs to work on that. I'm not saying that he can't, but even in the playoff, I feel like his team felt like he couldn't. So, but there's always a chance when you take a player from the London Knights that next year he just explodes and becomes just that much better. So that's why I guess most people have him close to close to the first round, like consolidated ranking of 31st. So beginning of the second round, and I think that's where he belongs. I don't think now the toolkit is really first round. Individually, the attributes are first round, but when you put them together and you look at the whole package, I don't think he's a first round caliber player right now. But you could have a player that makes it to the NHL and makes it to a top four. It's really not something that's impossible or out of reach for him. Next one. Sorry, I have some problem with my voice right now. Next one is Cole McKinney, who was some nights the best center for the US and TDP, and some nights just invisible. Not like no impact whatsoever, because defensively he's always good. He's always back checking, always going deep, helping his defense, being in support. He's like he can use his skating, can use it. He's sometimes physical. He did a lot of good stuff. It's just that sometimes he's good defensively, and sometimes it's just absolutely nothing. So, like the consolidated ranking is 34, so really like on the edge of the first and second round. But like it's hard to look at Cole McKinney and tell yourself that you have a sure shot NHL player, or you have a sure shot player that can actually play at least in your top 9. It's not exactly sure. Like he has a lot of stuff that he does good. He has a lot of details defensively in his game, but offensively, even though he could put up quite some points with 61 points, 27 goals in 60 games. I don't know. So sometimes it's just hard to explain. I just didn't like that much what I saw. He never made it to my first round, and he ended up not making it at all. So Cole McKinney, but I think he deserved a mention because he's obviously a player that deserved to be at least in the conversation for the first round, being like one of the best scorers for the US and DDP this year, and also being a player with a certain size and involved defensively. If you go with the next one, and the next one is Daniel Provorov, which is a very different player, a player that basically has two kind of attributes. Like Daniel Provorov first is somewhat of a giant. He's 6'6", 218 pounds. He's a guy that skates well enough for his size. Like we can't call him a great skater because he's definitely not a great skater, but he's an okay skater for his size. He has an explosive shot. Like his shot is really, really strong, and he's also violent. So now you have to work with him on understanding how hockey is played, because the thing is, he did have some decent production with 27 points, 20 goals in 43 games. It's not a lot in the NHL, but it's decent. And then you can project with his size and his shot and his like tendency to just hit everything that he sees. But there's a lot of work to be done here. Like even though he does have a good shot, in the NHL, you need to be able to read space and read time and jump into the space and being forgotten. So some space can open on the ice while other players are manipulating the defense, and you jump into that space for you to be able to catch that puck and release it quickly. And that's going to be a problem, I think, at the NHL level. Like there's a long way for him to get from where he is now to an NHL level type of player. Even though he's violent, even though he has an NHL shot all day, there's work to be done for him to get there. But I think when you can draft a player that does have tools, that is 6'6", you do it. Why not? Then you go with the next one. And then basically the next ones, like the next three ones, are all the same type of player, and I'm gonna make them all white right away. Like that. And it's basically the three little player from the draft. Like it's Cameron Schmidt, LG Mooney, and Adam Benak. Like the only player of those players that does have first round projection in some list here is Cameron Schmidt. Cameron Schmidt is an excellent skater. He's one of the fastest skater in the entire draft. He has probably the one of the best shot. If you took just the tool of shooting the puck on its own, I think he's a top 5 in the draft. If he's not a top 5, he's a top 10 for sure. But he has one of the best shot in the draft, close to elite. Same thing for the skating. But he's 5'7". So 5'7", 157. I think he weighted at 160 something. I think at the combine. It's still so small. It's still. I think it's 5'7". If you put up record-breaking type of numbers, it's one thing. But 5'7", and what you put up is 78 points, 40 goals, and 61. It's not record-breaking by any means. It's good. Like there's, for sure, it's really good. But it's not. It's not Caulfield level or something like that. So I find it hard to believe that there's going to be like 3 players that are going to make it to the NHL that are 5'7" this year. So I just basically put them all out of the first round, including Cameron Schmidt, because there's just too much risk. Even though I think he's a good player and a good prospect, like he's the type of player I would get maybe by the end of the second round, maybe beginning of the third round, something like that, because there's just so much risk that he will just never make it to the NHL. And if he's not in the top 6 role, that guy is not playing in the NHL. And the 5'7" players, there's Caulfield, DeBrincat, Stankoven, and that's it. There's nothing else. So, and it's not like we lack 5'7" players that are offensively gifted or 5'8" or 5'9". There's just not that many in that frame. So it's really hard to project him there. And because of that, even though he does have the skills, he's outside of the first round. Same thing with LG Mooney. And LG Mooney is basically my favorite one out of those 3. He's not even as high at all in any ranking. Like the consolidated ranking is 68. The other one was 28, I think. Yeah, Cameron Schmidt was 28 and LG Mooney is 68. LG Mooney did not have a great season. When you look at it, he was basically a point per game in the US NTDP. Went to the U18s, did really well with 11 points in 7 games. But I think when you look at it in terms of skills, they're both great skater. They're both great handler. But I think LG Mooney is just that much better as a playmaker. Like when he has the puck on his skills, he can be special in the way he can create plays and advantage on the ice, which Cameron Schmidt, I don't think he can. He can do it for himself using his speed and using his shot, but I don't think he can do it for others. LG Mooney can make everyone on the ice better, and it's just, is he going to reach the NHL? That's the big question. Most likely, no. But if he does, and he has to do it in a top 6 capacity, he's a real player. Like he's aggressive, he's physical, even though he's 5'7". He's such a he has great vision. He's fantastic. Like in terms of playmaking, he's really, really good. He creates so many advantages. He sees everything. He's such a good handler of the puck. The 4-way mobility is as good as it gets in this draft. So he has a lot going for him. The season was not great, at least not as good as we expected. And the size, basically. But he's my favorite of the 3. And then we have Adam Benak, who also did really good in the USHL. But another guy that's 5'7", 163 pounds. In the USHL, he had 59 points in 56 games. Really good player, really, really dynamic player. But same thing, it's just a size thing. And you can see that he's basically, if you compare the 3 of them, you would have Cameron Schmidt would be ranked first. Then you would have Adam Benak second and LG Mooney third. I have it the other way around. I would have LG Mooney first, then Cameron Schmidt, and then Adam Benak. We'll see how it goes. It's just so hard to project those players. But I think, I think that they're all good. I think they all have first round type of talent all day long. Like those 3 players do have first round talent. They just don't have first round tools. That's the problem. So yeah, that's about it. Those are the players I wanted to talk about. There's no like actual ranking with those players, and I do have a ranking for me personally, but I don't think there was a point in me like just ranking them. And I just wanted to make a quick video about it, talking about the honorable mention. So the next video doesn't have to be like 30 minutes, and then there's like 15 honorable mentions, but I thought they all deserve some time to be talked about. So I did. So that's about it. Hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one. Peace.